Good morning. That wasn't very enthusiastic. Good morning. Thank you. Much better. Okay. All right, we're going to get started this morning, and I will ask Barbara Hooper if she would give our invocation for us.
I have to confess after all this time that when you hear me do an invocation, it generally comes off the internet. And when I was looking this week for something for an invocation, this invocation popped up. It's a little bit different than what I've done and what others have done. But I ask you to join me in this moment of invocation. In the sanctuary of dialogue, let respect be the cornerstone upon which our interactions are built. Let our words be guided by a deep appreciation for the diverse perspectives that enrich our discussions. Like the roots of a tree that interweave to form a sturdy foundation, so do our respectful interactions create a strong base for fruitful conversations. With each exchange, let us honor the uniqueness of every individual, and through this invocation of respect, let us foster an environment where every voice is heard and valued.
Thank you, Barbara. That was beautiful and worthy of lots of thought. Jim, if you'll do our pledge for us. Right, I'm going to skip what few words I have to say and ask Shelba if she'll come up and give us a very, very quick treasurer's report this morning.
The beginning balance for November was $583.57. It was a sort of a short month. We didn't have very many deposits. The total deposits were $50.50. There were no debits. And the total for the ending balance of December was $634.07.
Thank you, and as usual, the full report of what the deposits were is on the back of your agenda. Okay, today we don't have many council remarks because we're going to save plenty of time for us to hear the survey results. But before we do that, I'm going to turn it over to, who's doing Angie? I wasn't sure who was doing it. Angie, to do our employees recognition.
Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. So for January, Rookie of the Month, we are delighted to recognize a shining star. I'm going to ask Roja Aguilar. Is she here? She is. You can come to the podium. We're delighted to recognize this shining star. She works for Community Life Services. Roja is one of our Rookies of the Month in less than 90 days. She has consistently introduced engaging activities that has resonated positively with our residents, enhancing their overall experience. Through her warm and friendly demeanor, Roja has created meaningful connections with residents, fostering a sense of community here at Cypress. She actively collaborates with the team, offering support and ideas to enhance the overall effectiveness of the activities department. Thank you for all you do, your hard work and commitment to making Cypress Village a place where residents and staff alike can thrive. We thank you. Next, I would like to ask for Darrelly Middleton. He's not. Okay. Somebody want to take in his behalf? Okay. So he's not here, but in his absence, Laura will accept in his behalf. Dorelli is our second Rookie of the Month. He's been a wonderful addition to the security team. Dorelli's dedication, professionalism, and exceptional service has truly stood out, making a significant impact on the safety and well-being of our residents. Dorelli actively engages with residents, staff, and visitors, fostering positive relationships with our community. He has demonstrated exceptional responsiveness during emergency situations. He remains calm under pressure, swiftly taking appropriate actions to handle any incidents that may arise, ensuring the safety and peace of mind of everyone in the facility. Thank you for his hard work and commitment to creating a safe and supportive environment for our senior residents. So thank you for accepting in his behalf. Thank you. We're going to turn over to Employee of the Month. Okay. So the first person I would like to recognize is my very own Sherelle Brimley. She is she is my HR assistant. Sherelle has consistently demonstrated unwavering commitment, exceptional work ethic, and a dedication to service excellence that sets her apart. Sherelle is not just an employee, she is a beacon of inspiration for all of us. Her ability to go above and beyond gracefully, coupled with her positive attitude and commitment to teamwork, has significantly contributed to the success of our HR department. Sherelle's daily efforts to uphold and exemplify service excellence has not gone unnoticed. Whether assisting colleagues, handling employee queries, or managing administrative tasks, Sherelle does so with a positive attitude and a commitment to excellence. She has shown a remarkable ability to navigate complex situations with poise and tact, always ensuring that the needs of both the employee and the company are met. And as our manager, I am very proud of her. So congratulations to you, Sherelle. Congratulations. Would you like to say anything? Say something.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
Next, I would like to ask for Cecilia LePay. She's not here? Okay. Well, I want to talk about Cecilia. Cecilia is our longest-standing current CNA in the building right now. She has serviced Cypress Village for 25 long years. Yeah, so she's our longest tenured right now currently. Key highlights of Cecilia's remarkable contributions. She's the longest standard CNA right now. 25 years of tenure reflects her enduring commitment to our community and its residents. Exemplary care. Cecilia consistently provides compassionate and attentive care to our residents. Her empathy and kindness creates a warm and supportive environment for everyone. She is a team player. Cecilia is not only a stellar individual contributor, but also a team player. Her collaborative spirit enhances the overall synergy within our healthcare team. Leadership by example. As one of the most tenured certified nursing aides, Cecilia serves as a role model for her peers, embodying the qualities of excellence, professionalism, and integrity. So let's give a round to everyone, the rookies and the employees for January 2024. Thank you so much.
And now, someone who needs no introduction, Ty.
Good morning, Cypress Village residents. Welcome to community meeting. I want to thank everybody for being here this morning. My name is Ty Morgan. I'm the executive director here at Cypress Village. In today's meeting, we will be reviewing our resident satisfaction results from 2022 and 2023. We have a lot to cover today, so let's jump right into the agenda. Here is an overview. Is that a little better? Here's an overview of today's agenda and what we are going to be discussing today. We're going to have a general overview of the survey itself. We're going to provide some of the statistics that were derived from the survey. We're going to get into the data, specifically independent living today here. Then we're going to get into some resident remarks. Those are what you had the opportunity to freelance or give us verbatims on, not a multiple choice answer. It was an opportunity for you to be very vocal in your thoughts. And last but not least, the reason why we're here, the areas that you identified as the most opportunistic for Cypress Village operations moving forward. We've got Community Life Services, which is Lisa Drew. We've got Dining Services, which Hector Gonzalez will represent. Engagement, not a department, but an area of the survey that we did not score so well in. Resident Services and Ashley Miller will handle that piece. And last but not least, Extraordinary Impressions, which is also an aspect of the survey that we did not do very well in, and Laurel Mundell will provide a lot of detail on that piece as well. We will not be taking questions today, as usual, for community meeting, but there will be for dining questions specifically related to preferred choice dining. After a meeting we had yesterday, based on all of the information going through the village, we are, before the end of this month or early February, going to have a meeting in here to wrap it all up, dispel any myths, rumors, answer any questions that may still be out there, because we're going to have a really good handle on it by that time of what it's going to look like. So, work in progress. So more to come there, but any questions you have related to this meeting, please email them to life@cypressvillageretirement.com, and we will respond to those as timely as possible. All right, let's get into the general overview. This survey period for residents here at Cypress Village occurs every 2 years, not every year. The distribution period, so this will cover 22 and 23, as I mentioned before. The distribution period for this survey was August 17th through September 6th. Gave us about 3 weeks to obtain all of the information and surveys from our residents. We did receive the results in late October of 2023. They were not dispersed until, I believe, after Thanksgiving. So we are a little bit behind, so my apologies on that. Response rates, we had 84% in independent living. That was actually our highest ever, so thank you all for those that participated in the survey. We had a 60% response rate in assisted living, 64% memory care, and 39 healthcare center. Those weren't the scores, those were just the response rates in regards to the number of surveys we had. Our overall score for this survey period was a 74%. I can be very loud and clear here. We are not very proud of that result as a management team and a community as a whole. It did not meet our goals nor our standards here at Cypress Village. We own that. We endured serious operational trauma during this period of time. I will say in 2024 we have a lot of wood to chop, but I feel that we are very well positioned to chop that wood and get the community back to where we were pre-pandemic. I do want to thank all the residents that participated. Based on that large participation rate, it gives us very good feedback to work from. It was very candid, very honest. Although that's sometimes hard to read and digest, it's appreciated. And it's also provided the basis of what we are going to present to you today as the action plans for the key areas that you found that we were the most, I don't want to say deficient, that's not a great word, but where we had the most opportunity for improvement. So let's get into some survey statistics. And there we go. We are going to get into just some general statistics and demographics so all of the residents understand what we're presenting here. The first statistic was satisfaction by length of stay. I found this very unique. The lowest satisfaction was from residents who have lived here less than 1 year. We had a 71% rating there. The highest satisfaction rating was those who have lived here for more than 10 years. We had an 84% rating. I miscued on that. That was not the one that was interesting to me. It's coming. Next slide. All right, so the next stat was satisfaction by type of residence. This was flipped. This was a unique result this year. We had equity houses as the highest satisfied group of residents. I can tell you since my tenure here, that is a big change. So although the grade is not where we want it to be, 78% equity houses satisfaction, apartment dwellers were 75% satisfied, and the villas were 70% satisfied. Some additional statistics. This is the one I was referring to. Katie, are we in the right slide? Yes, thank you. Satisfaction by age. So residents, our youngest demographic of residents, under 70 years old, had 100% satisfaction rating. Now, I don't know who you are out there, but I can find out. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that support. Adult children too? Okay. So anyway, number two, the highest age group was those over 90, and they were 83% satisfied. So opposite ends of the spectrum are doing well here at Cypress Village. And thank you. Then decreasing from there, our 85-year-olds to 89-year-olds had a 77% satisfaction rate, 80 to 84, 75%, 75 to 79, 73%. And then the lowest being age 70 to 74, we had a 68%. And I think I have an idea, as you read through those verbatims, I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but I think I have a pretty good idea of why we scored so low there. One other topic here, or stat that I found interesting, was paper copies were preferred over online surveys, almost 2 to 1. So we will continue with paper moving forward. All right, let's recall the past now and go through some of the specifics of the survey, but also let's envision a path forward. All right, 2022 key circumstances. Employment challenges were by far the toughest challenge that our community specifically had. When I looked at some of the data during this time of our sister communities, they did not experience a lot of the turnover that we did. During this course of time, we had over 100% turnover rate. And we averaged roughly, I'd say about 300 hires. We were turning over roughly 300 people. When I looked at that comparatively to our other sister communities, they did not have that massive turn. So just some stats, some residents may know this or not, but pre-pandemic, when we were at full employment, we had about 450 employees. I consider full employment 95%. You have about a 5% vacancy factor. When we hit the bottom of the barrel here at Cypress Village, and I remember it unfortunately very distinctly, I think we bottomed out at 290 employees, which was roughly 70%. So if you can imagine trying to operate Cypress Village, not only IL, AL, memory care, and health care, under those circumstances, you can only imagine. So I feel pretty proud about the 74% at this point based on where we came, and I'll get into some of those details here. So in addition to the overall employment being where it was, we had some key position vacancies as well during this survey period. I'll start with dining services. Most of you who were around during that time, we had an interesting, transition there. We had Thomas Rivers, who was here for 10 plus years as dining director. He resigned. We had a vacancy of dining director of dining services 2 times. We had 2 executive chef vacancies. In our healthcare center, we had a director of nursing, which is the head of all clinical operations, the assistant director of nursing, multiple unit managers, and a social worker out. In assisted living, we had multiple turnover in the assisted living director, health and wellness director, and activity coordinator role. Those 3 people in those areas are absolutely critical for us maintaining a standard operation. Housekeeping, we turned over our environmental services director, Anthony Bone, as well as our IL supervisor, who Natalie Gibbs has replaced and done a great job. Community Life Services, Katie transitioned out of CLS or activities and came back to the executive offices. We had a vacancy there prior to hiring Lisa Drew. We were also lost our Innovative Home Services director at that time. So you can imagine what we were dealing with during this period of time. It doesn't make it good, bad, or indifferent, but I did want to paint the picture of what the reality was. And I can tell you there's some individuals throughout the room, I'm looking at several, that were here during that time stretched beyond imagination, including myself. So a big kudos to those staff members as well as leaders that hung through it. I want to say that during the entire pandemic of 3 years, really where that biggest hit came was at the end when there was no viable workers. I mentioned the key positions that were vacant, but in addition to that, we had vendor contractor issues, financial stress, contract labor throughout the community in almost every single department we had, supply and food chain issues, and more. And then, this isn't even the cherry on top, but to cap it off, mid-2023, maybe early 2023, our elevators started failing on a wide, well, it's funny, but it's not. But the elevators have always had issues. They're 30 years old, but up until 2023, it's been very isolated. I won't say it's been perfect, but isolated. 2023, those problems were exacerbated and it became widespread. But the cherry on top was an 11.4% rate increase that we had to put to our residents based on the substandard operations and services we were providing. That was very difficult for me morally, but to even couple that with the lowest employment base we had, guess what spiked? Demand. We're at 95% occupancy. I mean, we're seeing higher demand than we've ever seen before. So we've got this incredible demand thanks to Lisa and the sales team, but we don't have staff to maintain the service levels. So a lot going on during this survey period. And I can tell you just a couple notes I made here at the end that we would not have made it through this without a lot of the current leaders that have been here for many, many years, doing multiple roles, multiple positions, covering shifts, serving food, you name it. I want to thank them, and also the residents who were very impactful as well. A lot of volunteer work, a lot of efforts to really weather that storm. But I can tell all of you, I'm sure you heard it on the news multiple times, but the healthcare burnout was real. I can tell you that. Okay, let's get into the independent living results. Okay, this is a snapshot of each area rated. As you can see on the top, we've got overall satisfaction of 74%. That actual score was derived from 3 questions, solely 3 questions. The first one being, I feel at home at Cypress Village, which we scored a 77%. Very satisfied with Cypress Village as a place to live, 3%. And then, would you recommend Cypress Village to a family or a friend? And we got 71%. Those 3 scores made up the 74%. Below that, you can see some of the scores for all of the departments. That is every area of the community, this list right here, that was surveyed. Everything in blue with no highlights means, and we're not going to focus on those areas because it was satisfactory to our residents. But I would like to acknowledge and recognize Lisa Green in sales and marketing, Sarah Ninya and Candace Yates in accounting, and Laurel Mundell in concierge. All were above 90%. That's great. Excellent work. I'd also like to highlight areas, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought here. Oh, also a big shout out to Lester Ruiz in housekeeping. I mean, look at huge turnaround in his department, 20 plus percentage points better than the prior year. But those top performers in the 90% were followed by transportation, very short behind them. Then resident health services, executive director, communications, security, plant operations, IHS, environmental services, to cap it off, and food and beverage, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't see. Can somebody turn on the lights? I'm sorry. So all of the positives, I'm just going to refer here. So kudos to everybody here and above. The area we're going to be focusing in on today and the leaders that are going to be sharing their action plans are highlighted in yellow, which are community life services, extraordinary impressions, which again is not a department, engagement, which is not a department, and food and beverage. The next slide, this is really where we want to be. I like that slide. That's where we want to be on the next survey itself. This slide is very hard to read. We're going to it provides you the questions that really provided the rating or the score to each department. Again, as you can see, we performed very well in these particular areas. On this slide, the lines highlighted in yellow indicate opportunities for Cypress Village to do a better job with specific focus areas. These areas were all below 80%. Community life services and extraordinary impressions will be addressed by Lisa Drew and Laurel Mundell here shortly. Otherwise, opportunities include upkeep of outside grounds and landscaping, innovative home services, information and services, and response timeliness and follow-up. Poor Lester, Director of Environmental Services. So he did great on his overall department score, but the residents dinged him for responsiveness. So we know what Lester has to work on there. I'm not going to go through this slide in its entirety, as we're going to be focusing on these areas here shortly. Again, these lines indicated in yellow are all opportunity scores and specific to engagement, dining services, support services, and computer and technology services. All right, let's get into these are the verbatims I was talking about earlier. And there were 53 pages of verbatims. Now, the survey comes back and it's about maybe 15 or 20. We had 50 pages of verbatims. So it is impossible to go through all of those pages individually. So what we typically do is take the verbatims and lump them into categories or themes. So on the positive remarks where residents gave us good grades during the survey period, community life services, we had activities offered, fitness program, the aquatic center, and pool. For health and wellness, we did well with the continuum of care and accessibility, quality of providers we offer, our wellness clinic, range of services available on site, and the convenience and quality of who we are providing. Dining services, positive, convenience, multiple venues to choose from, staff relationships, supportive facilities, security and safety, concierge, transportation. On the environment, we were graded well for location, cleanliness, landscaping and grounds, attractive neighborhoods and choices, and culture, fellow residents and neighbors, friendliness of staff, and warm and caring community, and management cares. So those were all the positive verbatims lumped into those categories. Now, the flip side, areas of opportunity that we're going to focus in on today, we have business office and finance, cost versus value, rate increase, community life services, outdoor amenities, fitness center equipment, more activities, and musical variation. For environment, we know this one. Elevators, I will say in the verbatims, probably 20 plus pages said elevators, elevators, elevators. Rightfully so, but elevators was number one on the environment. Number two was parking. 3 was a tired interior, carpet replacement, furnishings first floor, traffic control, a limited indoor program space. Plant operations, landscaping, and the landscaping really is more tailored towards the equity homeowners and their personal residences more so than the general. Security systems in the houses, on health and wellness, additional services, providers, time with providers, weekend access to care, assisted living and memory care leadership turnover, and on dining, food quality and food temperature, variety and menu planning, more tableside service, utilize 4600 East Lakeside more often, nutritious, healthy options offered more. So, residents, that is going to conclude the overview, detail, and statistics. Now I want to transition into what you are here to hear, and that is what Cypress Village is doing to improve the areas identified in the survey. You will hear from the leaders in their respective areas and their commitments to you in the community in 2024. So with that, I am going to turn it over first to Lisa Drew and Community Life Services. Come on down, Lisa. You're the next contestant.
Thank you. I had to get Angie some water. Okay. Talking about, I started here in April of 22, and Ty was mentioning in mid-22 the employment situation, and I know that was true because I was tapped to be bartender on numerous occasions, and it was a great way to get to know everybody. Okay, so the results for Community Life Services in the survey, not surprising, but surprising, definitely appreciated. So we received 28 verbatim comments. 14 were about the fitness program and the fitness center. 13 were about the variety of activities, which was a little surprising to me, and the timing of activities. The not surprising part was fitness, because I have been hearing from you throughout the year about that. But all of this are issues that we've been working on solutions for. So to me, the results of the survey are a good springboard for me to talk to you about some of our new initiatives. And as we announced regarding fitness, as we announced in the newsletter this month, we have Deb going now as our full-time independent fitness coordinator. That's, yeah. If you don't know Deb yet, you will. And that's something I've been working on since I started here. And Sarah and Ty worked closely with me to make that happen. And here we are, new year, new fitness coordinator. So we're excited about having her here in the roles that you're familiar with her, and with some new initiatives that we will be planning for you. Classes, new fitness classes, workshops, outings. So let me give you a little bit of a rundown of what we're envisioning Deb's role here. So in addition to her classes that she teaches Monday and Wednesday, She'll be assessing and advising residents on fitness status and plans. I know some of you have already had a fitness assessment with her. I hope you're finding that useful. She's overseeing the fitness center, both on a day-to-day maintenance and a long-term best practices operation. That is something that, that she feels strongly about. She will be adding fitness classes to the schedule. One new addition that Deb and I have been working on since last year, when we were doing, when I was doing some research on Parkinson's, I found out that the Parkinson's Foundation has an exercise program called Power Moves. And that is a certified program through them. And I have been working on getting Ty and Sarah to approve Deb's class to become certified in that. With Ashley's help, they've approved it. So she will be doing her class in January, and then we will be adding a bi-weekly class tailored just for our Parkinson's residents. So we're really excited about adding that. She will be taking her class this month, yes. In addition, she will be leading what we're calling Fun Fit outings. A lot of you have asked for more of those physical outdoor outings, and that includes hiking, bike riding, paddleboarding, kayaking. Bring your ideas. We'll make it happen. Also going to be adding a monthly evening meditation, as well as planning the active aging lectures that she has been doing on a monthly basis. I know that she's working closely with Ashley to enhance some of those offerings. So for the fitness center, so we've identified, or I should say Deb has identified, 4 obsolete pieces of equipment, which will be removed to make space, and to make the remaining good equipment more user-friendly, and also to open the space up to something that Deb wants to promote, and that is circuit training. You can speak to her more about what that specifically looks like for you. But that's what she is, that's her goal with moving some of that equipment that isn't being used or isn't working. So the other thing that she told me about through the Perkins Fund, I think they've purchased a stretch table. This is a piece of equipment that will enable people to do the kind of stretching that's important to do, but without getting on the floor. And for some of you, that is going to be a good addition. Update and repair equipment when necessary. Again, Deb will be keeping tabs on the fitness center. We'll be doing an inventory of fitness accessories to assess what we have, update, repair where necessary. She will be doing an inventory of the pool accessory room. I know a lot of you are starting to use the pool area, which is great, but some of that equipment in there really does need to be replaced, so we will be working on that. We'll purchase what we need, replace where indicated. I know some of you are already bringing me pieces of equipment that you want replaced, and I appreciate that. And in addition, our ongoing campaign to update the fitness center equipment, relocating the space, and as well as adding some of those outdoor amenities. We are working on a plan to build a couple of pickleball courts. I know some of you have asked for that. So that's something that is ongoing, but we're very excited about the vision for those things, which will hopefully manifest this year. Okay, so that's fitness. I hope that enlightens you a little bit. So the thing that was a little bit surprising to me was issues with the variety of activities. I will continue to offer as wide a variety of activities as possible. But I will say that a robust calendar of activities is going to involve overlap. There are just going to be some times when you're going to have to make choices. It's not possible to schedule everything that we have on offer so that it doesn't all happen at the same time. We can do that in assisted living, but in independent living, you guys require a lot more options. And so, and again, that's how we're able to offer the resident-driven activities that we offer by scheduling them where we can and when we can. However, I do want you all to know that your desires for activities are really foremost in the planning of the calendar. Our office has an open door policy. I know some of you do come by and bring us ideas. I really like to encourage that, but maybe enough people don't know that that is the case, so I will do a better job of promoting the accessibility of the community service department. And then, so with regard to that, we're going to make a few changes in the monthly community life services agenda in cooperation with the activity committee. And that is, the first thing that we'll be doing is we will do away with the monthly planning meeting, which was very poorly attended and rarely ever, I don't say never, but rarely ever came up with ideas that we could put into action. Instead, we're going to make the activity committee more accessible to the community. I have printed up a list of the members of the activity committee with their phone numbers, with their permission. And I encourage you to take that, and they will serve sort of like a resident council rep. If you have questions, concerns, comments that you're not comfortable bringing to us, or you haven't been able to come by the office, you're welcome to bring those to the committee members, and then they will bring them to our monthly meeting. Okay. I have 1 minute. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so I'm hoping that will give us some better insight into what it is you all want. I would also like to say I do so appreciate all of the positive comments and feedback that I got, not just in the survey, but in general, that you give me, that's for our office that means a lot, and it's very encouraging. So that's pretty much it for me. I hope that you will see the positive changes that we're doing and take advantage of everything that we're trying to offer and help us plan a calendar that you want to participate in. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Next on deck is food and beverage dining services, which will be, I believe, Hector Gonzalez. All right, it's going to be Brianne or Hector, the duo. Come on down.
Good morning, residents. How are we doing? We're so excited to talk about food. I am. Hector's coming. You're not old.
We got. Well, good morning, everybody. How's everybody today? We got to first start with that Michigan win last night, man. It was fantastic. I hope there's some Michigan fans here. All right, I want to dig in, pretty quickly in the essence of time. Brianne's here to kind of fill in the gaps if I miss anything. But really, I mean, looking at the survey and going through it, there wasn't a great deal of surprises for me. Quite honestly, it was about where I felt like the department was coming into the department. Recognized there was a lot of damage done through the pandemic, a lot of pieces to pick up. So I was looking for a project when I came to Cypress, and I certainly did get one.
Isn't
In
he
dining.
lucky?
Really used to moving a little faster than this, but it's taking some time. So having said that, we always have a plan in place. We always try and move the needle as much as we can in dining. It's just not happening as quickly as we'd like to. So, I mean, those are the facts. Those are the fact of the matter. We are moving things in a positive direction. I feel like the improvements that we've made, in the last 6 months are notable. I think that, getting our feet underneath us, getting the leadership in place are things that we have accomplished, and I think that we're ready to, move forward. I'm very, very encouraged and hopeful that we're going to be able to move that needle a little bit quicker as we kind of get into this next, I guess 6 months to a year. I think some of the positive programs that we're putting together, I'm going to review today, but they're going to help us to get to that. The biggest thing for me was getting the leadership in place, getting everybody, all the ducks in a row. Employment in dining, hospitality, food and beverage is still kind of on the bubble. It hasn't changed a great deal. It has, but it hasn't changed as much or as quickly as we'd like to see it. We're just not seeing as much talent out there. We just don't see the talent that we had pre-pandemic. I don't know where they went. I don't know what's going on. But we do our best to hire the brightest and the sharpest individuals that we can get. But we do recognize that it is going to require some training, and it is going to require a great deal of training because we're getting basically raw product. We're starting from scratch. So having said all this, I'm going to go through some of my bullet points. I did review the survey pretty extensively. I think that keeping things high level for this conversation is probably the best, just to give everybody updates on where we're going. So first, I don't know what the slide says. Okay, so preferred choice dining. My notes on that, we've talked a lot about it. I know that there's a lot of, there's some mystery out there. It's a lot of big changes. It's a lot of moving parts. But, to summarize it, it is going to attack, some of the survey items that were mentioned. Increased variety and choice, upgraded quality of ingredients, ability to customize menu selections, freshly cooked proteins, upgrading Middleton's buffet, creative up-to-date dining selections, restaurant-style service, monthly rotation of menus, specials, and, some of the feedback that we got through some of our small meetings, is really, where can I get an exchange meal? The exchange meal is a term that's used here, and it's, very, very popular. So, some of the adjustments we're going to make to this program as we go through it is we're going to identify that, and we're going to be able to offer that on a day-to-day basis in, Lakeside at 4600. So we're going to be able to do some of the things that have been brought to our attention through that. This program is moving forward kind of as we go. Like I said in every small meeting, we have the core, and we're building out from there. So I know that some residents are pretty anxious or excited about the fact that it's not going to be what they want or expect, and it's probably not going to be there for 100%, but we're going to get it as close to that 100% as we can. And some of those things we're going to be announcing as we go through this program, and we just got to wait until we put it into place and walk through it for a month or two to make sure that it is what we want it to be. But it is a positive for the community and for dining, especially because it really does address a lot of the questions that came in the verbatim, a lot of the comments, a lot of the negative comments that we received. So we just have to get into that. Service, a lot of service comments. We are putting together a comprehensive service training program. It will begin January 13th. It's the mic, it's not me, trust me. The training program will be mandatory for all team members. We'll utilize trainers to train the team. Once our managers and supervisors have been fully vetted in the training program, they'll then be assigned servers to train and mentor. The trainers will then remain responsible for the server using a buddy system approach. If a server is not following the training standard of service, the trainer will be responsible for retaining that skill, retraining on that skill that they may be lacking. This will allow Lindsay and I to really tap and tag somebody that is having a shortfall on service and be able to retrain that person. It's a train the trainer, it's a buddy system approach to it. I've used this before, it works very, very well. It breaks down the large group. You got to think about it, we've got 60 to 70 young people, servers. So having that many servers, a lot of them are part-time, so they're only here for a day, sometimes 2 days a week because they're in school. So getting that line staff trained properly is a task, but keeping them trained is the other part of it. And this train or buddy system is going to address both of those. Menu variety, Loon's Nest monthly menu rotations, daily features, specialty drink menus, dedicated resources, having Jen back in the kitchen as a sous chef with Maxine as the outlet manager. And we have just recently hired Robert Tetic as our assistant dining room manager. Having dedicated resources in Loon's Nest is what's needed. It's gone from a very sleepy, slow, restaurant into a very robust, busy restaurant, so we have to address that. And those are the resources we're going to throw at that. I think that once all those pieces are in place, Robert just started last week, we went through an orientation with him, I think it's going to help us a great deal. The quality of the food coming out of there and the consistency, Jen is going to be able to manage that. This is a step that we really felt we needed between Chef John and I to have a dedicated sous chef in Loon's Nest. Middleton's Buffet, new menu rotation, upgraded ingredients, themed buffets 3 nights a week. That'll include carving stations, action stations, and then we'll go to a traditional Sunday brunch weekly. We'll move that Sunday brunch from Loon's Nest into Middleton's. Lakeside at 4600, monthly menu rotations, daily exchange meal, similar to like a prefix type menu. Daily offerings will include soup and salad selection, entree with 2 sides and a dessert, entree salad selections with protein. So this addresses some of the questions we received about exchange meal and am I going to be able to get a soup, salad, and everything within my allotment of dollars? Yes, because we are going to be offering some of those things in the form of a special or a feature. So we will have some of those items on there. And this, by making some of the changes that we're making with preferred choice dining, it allows us to do that. We can be very flexible in how we're addressing and how we're serving in Lakeside at 4600. We never had that before. This is at least since I've been here. So this is new for us, and it's quite frankly very exciting. Back to Lakeside at 4600, there'll be an offering of lighter bites, entree selections, healthy items, lunch and dinner offerings. Will be represented at both meal periods. Pick 3 options will allow for customization on the selections. So as you can see, a lot of the questions going through the survey addressed the items that I just spoke about. Really having the option of a healthier item. Being able to eat a full meal during the day. A lot of residents eat their full meal during the day. The thought process is there is that you're having that meal early in the day instead of later in the day. A lot of doctors recommend that. So I think that those are some of the things that we know that we're going to be able to address through this and through some of the changes from our feedback. Food temperatures, we've purchased the heating units already for Middleton's. Dave's electrical updates. He gave me an update this morning, but it wasn't complete. He's got another quote coming in on it. As soon as we can get that scheduled and get that put in, that'll address the hot food complaints. Servery renovation is nearing completion. The renovation will allow us to improve service delivery of buffet foods. That's going into the Lakeside at 4600 execution. Kitchen renovations, we're planning updates to update the other side of the kitchen and have more of a restaurant-style service for Middleton's Buffet and Lakeside at 4600. So that'll allow both of those venues to operate a little bit more independently. So we're putting Middleton's Buffet out one side of the line in the kitchen, and then we're executing a la carte or menu service out of the other side of the kitchen. Pretty traditional setup. Our kitchen is not set up that way, though. So we're going to move some equipment around. We're going to make a couple purchases and fit it so that it is more efficient for us to perform both those tasks. We expect that to happen pretty quickly, too. Quality improvements, improve offerings of Middleton's Buffet through better utilization of monthly annual food budget, reduce the third option to improve other offerings that are other offerings on the items served. Moving to buffet once a day as opposed to 2 will naturally reduce the waste associated with a buffet. This will translate into the better use of resources and food spending. So the budget's the budget. We have our number. We've got our number every month. We spend every penny of that. What I'm proposing through some of these changes and what we're going to move into is really better allocation of those funds. So instead of some of the waste that we might experience at lunch or through the buffet, buffets are costly. Going to more a la carte service is going to allow us to really fit into that budget a little bit better. Do I feel like we have a great deal of waste? No. But by having a different menu every single day and servicing it at 2 meal periods, there is going to be some waste. It doesn't matter how good you are or how close you come on your estimates. You don't want to run out, but you want to have enough. I'm getting the hook here, so I got to move quickly. So I guess in closing, just concentrating the efforts on reducing Middleton's Buffet. Lakeside at 4600, menu service will allow for fresh ingredients, customizable menu items, naturally improve the quality of ingredients used. So we obviously have a plan. We just got to stick to it. We got to move forward. The comments were pretty spot on as far as I see. I don't see there was anything outside of the box, but we just got to continue to work through our plan. And that's what we intend to do in dining for 2024. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hector and Brianne. Next up, and we apologize for the time here. There was just a lot to cover, so bear with us. Next up, we have Resident Services Director, Miss Ashley Miller.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Let's talk about engagement, shall we? It's a couple rooms for opportunity. I'm very excited about what we have in store for you for this 2024 year. On our first bullet point, I feel like I have a voice in my community. When I first came into this role, I had the lovely pleasure of getting to know all of you and what your likes and dislikes and curiosities are. So we have been working on sending out SurveyMonkey surveys that the first one initially had a plethora of topics from spirituality to fitness. What interests you? What intrigues you? What do you want to learn more about? Unfortunately, we only received a few of those surveys back. So, and now learning that we prefer paper surveys more often, so I will make sure that we have all of our paper surveys available in the Wellness Center as well as in the concierge desk. Please, when you see those come across, take a few moments to fill them out. They're designed to be short, to the point, to capture as much information as we can, because this is your home, and we want to be able to provide all of the services and resources for you that you're interested in, not just what we think you're interested in, right? Also, if you have attended any of our workshops in wellness, I'm working diligently in sending out specific surveys on the topic, on the facilitator, to the attendees that participated. So please know those will be coming out via email. We do have a sign-in sheet at all of our workshops. So if I can get your email information, you will receive those workshop-specific surveys after the fact, because we want to make sure that if this is something you're interested in, that we can create series out of it, bring those facilitators back. So please take a moment to fill those out when they come across, okay? And I feel like I have a sense of belonging in my community. We want you to feel empowered. Between myself, Community Life Services, your Health and Wellness Department, we're working on building more clubs, building more support groups for you. But again, this is your home, and we want you to feel empowered to take a stand. If there's something interesting, a club or a certain support group that you're really interested in, let us know. Start getting some like-minded people together, and let us know when you have that kind of setup. We'll make sure to start advertising, putting it in the calendar, and getting the word out so it can be a prosperous club or support group for you. Your voices and your interests, again, are very, very valuable. We want to honor them and make sure that we're delivering appropriately to make sure that you have a full sense of belonging here in your home. And my community helps me maintain all aspects of my well-being. So very exciting new year. We have a cardiologist that we're working on February. We have a wonderful neurology group that I'm working on getting over here. We've actually had a resident see this particular practice before, and I got star reviews over it, so that made me very excited to start bringing them on as well. We're looking at mental health services, and we also have a new registered dietitian here that we'll be meeting with her this week, so we can talk about some clinic hours that she'll be able to come and have personal one-on-one conversations with you all about your nutrition, the navigation of that, where you'd like for it to go, meal planning, etc. So very excited to have her on board as well. Also, more spa services. Who wants more spa services? Yes? Okay, perfect. We're working on those too for you. And then for our final slide, my community helps me live my life with purpose. I'm very, very excited about this opportunity, what we're bringing to the table here for 2024. We've started some wonderful conversations with 1122. They have a new senior outreach ministry, and we really want to be a part of that. As well as the Mayo volunteer group. We will have actually 1122 and the Mayo volunteers here at our wellness fair on the 23rd. So please come by. We'll have so much information. You'll have opportunities to sign up. I know for me personally, when I feel most fulfilled is when I'm at service and being of service to people. So I think this will be a wonderful opportunity for all of our residents to have, some different options to be of service, to live a purpose-filled and very abundant life. Looking forward to a wonderful 2024 year with you all. My door is always open. If there's anything that you need, please don't hesitate to call me or come see me. Have a great day.
Thank you, Ashley. And last but not least is the focus area of engagement, and Laurel Mandela is going to cover that for us here today.
Thank you. Actually, extraordinary impressions. That's the one I'm going to go over. So Extraordinary Impressions is basically the framework or the toolkit, so to speak, that LCS uses at all of their managed communities when it comes to customer service. So I know Brookdale had something similar, Pillars or Foundation or something like that, but it's that similar mindset. And Extraordinary Impressions hangs mainly on the 10 hospitality promises. So some of those promises were listed on the survey specifically, so I wanted to, and Ty had those on an earlier slide. So the ones that need attention here is team members maintain high levels of professionalism. Team members ask, is there anything else I can do for you? Team members respond enthusiastically to my requests. And then team members pay close attention to details that are important to me, and team members anticipate my needs. So, and I agree with that. I agree with those being areas of improvement across the board. So to just talk a little bit about the history, like what Ty had mentioned at the beginning, there is going to be years down the road a before COVID and an after COVID line, similar to some other things that we've experienced in our history. And with that came a very big culture shock, not just economic and all of that sort of thing, but also just what people are working for. Before COVID, we had people who were happy to come to work and just, enjoying the time that they had here. And then with the rapid amount of inflation that occurred after COVID, with the shortage of supplies, with the increased demand for things that we in this area, in this country, were not accustomed to, it changed a lot of people's view, and it changed a lot of employees' view. They were no longer coming to work for a good time. They were going wherever they needed to go to make a paycheck. I had many friends in the opera industry. For those of you who don't know, that's what I did before I came here. Many people in the music industry who left music so that they could become realtors, so that they could become Uber drivers, so that they could do this. People with master's degrees and doctorates driving Uber to make ends meet. Life changed a lot for people. And how Hector mentioned, where did all these great cooks go that we had before? Well, they probably picked up real estate. They probably picked up some other things. A lot of people left when restaurants closed, when all of those businesses, my hairdresser didn't stop doing hairdressing because she had to close down and she lost her business. So now she's everything on the outside changed. And the one thing that couldn't happen, that we wouldn't let happen as the leaders that were here, is we did our best to shield our residents from the craziness that was happening outside. And a memory came up the other day. I don't know those of you who know Wesley Cox, and it was his birthday, and so I wished him a happy birthday. He was one of our former dining directors or dining managers. And it was him passing out sticky buns out at the houses. And I'm like, oh my goodness. During COVID, we couldn't meet in Egret Hall. We weren't allowed to meet in groups bigger than 10. The culture shifted so much. And it took that moment and that picture for me to realize where we came from, even just a few years ago, the things that we could and couldn't do. So like Ty mentioned, we had hardly any staff. And those of us that were here were running very thin. But at the end of the day, we wanted you all to be taken care of. We knew that we were the essential workers. We were the ones that needed to come in every day. And regardless of anything, you all needed fed. Y'all needed, whatever it was that we needed, we dropped and we did. So surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, looking back at our 2021 satisfaction, we actually had higher satisfaction among our residents then. But if I were to guess, and this is just a theory, we were all very visible. We couldn't stay in our offices. We were serving tables. We were bussing tables. We were bartending, as Lisa said. And Lisa doesn't even drink, so that was I didn't realize that. We made her do that. But anyway, so, we were doing all of these things that you wouldn't normally see. And so I think there was just, out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. Well, if they were really accessible then, and they're not as accessible now. Additionally, we put in a lot of digital means of communication, the virtual coffee chats, and trying to do as much as we could, either live stream, recording, putting it on YouTube. And that takes away an element. In one, it's convenient in one aspect, but then it takes away the human element in another. So we have to navigate that again. What does it look like to use these resources that are convenient, quick, and simpler so that it increases productivity? But then how do we also keep that personal element where we're face to face? So that's a little bit on my take of the extraordinary impressions, where, why we did better in 2021 than we did today. But then also, I think a little bit too, after the culture shift, we had to deal with the realities of retention and turnover. So it is very hard to train staff when they are different month to month. So now that we're at great staffing levels, we have our turnover has improved, retention has improved, we're actually able to invest into these people. It's more than just learning how to do their job, how to get from point A to point B, but how to get there with professionalism, with the attention to detail, thinking about the next step instead of just doing what they have to do today. So what are we going to do about that? The first thing is giving our residents realistic expectations. The one thing I learned very quick in the communication realm of the world that I worked in as executive assistant and then communication manager was that y'all are very easy to accommodate as long as I just tell you what's going on. Even if it's bad news, you would rather know the bad news than be surprised by the bad outcome and whatnot. And so once that started clicking in my mind, I'm like, why aren't all the directors doing this and just saying, hey, yes, the elevators are down for the 117th time, but still put out a text message, let them know so that Miss Sally from all the way down in this tower doesn't go there and then have to walk all the way back to take the one working elevator. Little things like that. Giving realistic expectations about what's going on, and then also fulfilling whatever commitments or promises are made. That's another one that I really want to make sure that all leaders understand the magnitude of what they say. If they say they're going to do it, and if they say they're going to do it by this time, then doggone, they better do it. Or at least give, again, the expectation and communicate ahead of time saying, hey, this is veering off track and this is why. And just being very transparent about that. I commend Ty. He's very transparent about the things that are going on. I'm trying to be more transparent about the reality of things. And I know that when we deal with apps and this and parking and yada yada, but just trying to be as clear as I can about what's happening. And I encourage all of the directors to do that. And then lastly, training. We need to make sure that training is the same across the board. We can invest now in our employees. They're staying with us for longer periods of time, thankfully. And we're hiring a higher caliber of employee. We see a lot of the people who went to the Ubers and went to the whatevers that were thinking that it's going to be great to be their own boss and have the flexible schedule. They're coming back into the workforce. We had a lot of people who are tenured as CNAs that knew that they would make more not taking their kids to daycare and staying home and receiving their assistance checks than coming into work and then having to pay daycare and da-da-da-da-da-da. So a lot of those types of things have also been reversed in the time. So we were getting a lot of a more sustainable employee. Thank you. And then, so with that, one of the main thing that we do every month is we focus on one of the 10 hospitality promises at the director level, at the top. We get our little subscription box. We go through it at Cabinet. There's all sorts of activities and resources that we go through as a director team. And then also give ideas of what we can do for the individual staff meetings, because taking a group of maintenance techs through a training is a lot different than taking a group of servers and caregivers and whatnot. So having them modify accordingly, and then they pass it down to their mid-level management and then their staff. So that's going to be something we started last year and we're going to continue. And we really hope that you will continue to see that improvement year after year. One final thing before I let you go is the other option that the other principle that we need you all to help us out with is likewise when we give our realistic expectations, and this is in trying to communicate more and more to Ashley's point, when we ask for feedback, please give it. It's interesting to me that of the people surveyed, the 30% of people that are dissatisfied or scoring low, that number correlates with the number of people that I miss every pulse survey. I consistently miss about 30% or 40% of respondents for every pulse survey I send. I just find that, we take it or leave it, I just find that interesting that the same people that are dissatisfied come a satisfaction survey that goes to corporate are the same people that don't respond to the in-house surveys when we send them out on a regular basis. And we'll do what we can. We'll make paper, we'll make digital, whatever works the best for you all. But please, when we ask, for information and for feedback, please give it. And likewise, keep using the other methods that we have available, the comment cards and your letters and emails. They don't go unread. Thank you very much, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Laurel. You could hear all the passion from the directors. We're way over time, but I think that's important. They're excited about it, so I'm going to close it out here today. One thing that I don't think came up that was all over the survey was a liquor license here at Cypress Village. We need a liquor license. That wasn't in the list of items, but we will have a liquor license effective March 1st. Everything is moving forward. Temporary paperwork is all taken care of. So, in closing, as we delve into addressing the feedback from this satisfaction survey, most particularly in the realm of dining services, it is clear we got a lot of work to do. I would say it's very crucial for our residents to understand that all of your feedback is highly valued and appreciated. We acknowledge the prevalence of rumors and speculation causing some anxiety, but I want to be the one here sitting in front of you today to let you know and reassure you that the decisions we make will always be, if I'm involved here at Cypress Village, with your best interest. I will not do anything different, okay? A couple residents wanted me to emphasize that, so I did. I hope I emphasized it well, but anyway. So looking ahead to 2024, we have some really exciting developments on the horizon, and I am very excited to share with you during my State of the Village address, which will be in February. We haven't done one in quite some time. We're going to have the State of a Village address next community meeting. So I'm looking forward to presenting that to all of you here today and the residents at large. I would like to extend a real special recognition to the resident council members, both past and present, because a lot of them are out there today, our steadfast employees, and all our resident volunteers encompassing the clubs, groups, unit, floor leaders, committee members, and beyond. Your collaboration support are so instrumental in what we do here at Cypress Village, and will be very instrumental in the improvements and enhancements we make for the well-being of our community moving forward. So with that, thank you all for being here today, present, awake, and thanks for your time. That will conclude.